Hi, and welcome back to Resilience Unraveled. Sitting in front of me, as always, resplendent as another guest from outside of this country by the sounds of things, with a fantastic pair of glasses on. Welcome to Jay Sapovits. How are you, Jay, this fine afternoon? Rain pounding from the skies in the UK. Where in the world are you?
Russell, I'm over in Boston. Nice to see you.
Oh, love Boston. So what are you doing up there?
Yeah, that's I've been here for 23 years and originally from Philadelphia. Yeah, about as American as you could possibly get.
So tell us a little bit about yourself. What is it that you do?
Yeah, my company is Ink Stores. We're a promotional marketing firm, so we make merch and swag, mostly B2B, work with companies and try to ideate to make any dollars that they spend on merchandise to give away to either their internal clients, right, their employees, or their clients, people who pay them, have a return on investment. So that's what my company does.
So how did you get into that line of work? Because that's quite specialized, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I've always like you like to get things for free, right? Like you like when people give you things, Russell.
Oh, I love things for free.
Okay, so do I. And I've been fortunate to be in businesses that had a swag and merch culture. And there's really two types of businesses out there: ones that have a swag culture and ones that don't have a merch culture. And it really starts at the top with the CEO or the leadership of the company. If the leadership of the company believes in merch and believes in wearing their brand and wearing their logo, then they tend to give away items with their brand and logo on them. And if the leadership doesn't believe in that, then companies don't. And I've always been involved with companies that do. And I came together with a former business partner of mine through some circumstances where I was, ready to do something different. We got into a manufacturing business. I learned how to decorate with embroidery and screen print on these really hard substrates like PVC and leather, all forms of plastic and foam, thick foam. And through learning how to decorate on those really hard surfaces and difficult and challenging projects, I just pivoted the business into decorating things that were more commonly purchased, like T-shirts and
Mm.
other giveaways.
Yeah. So this is sort of new to me. So do forgive me asking what seem to be really obvious questions to you. But I mean, when
Sure.
you're talking about swag and merch, I mean merchandising is merch. I get that. But what is swag in that sense?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. So, what people so swag is generally considered an acronym sealed with a gift.
Oh,
Um, but swag is considered any leave behind or giveaway or something that enhances your brand. That's a physical product, a physical
mm.
item.
Right. So what I see today in today's world is bunches of influencers or people on TikTok and such like, and they're all talking about their own brand, and they all seem to have a line of hoodies with something strange written on the front.
Yeah.
But it sounds like you're at a different level. You're sort of at an industrial level selling B2B, and you're not going down that sort of individual influencer route. I mean, how much of a challenge are they to your sort of business model?
Zero. The influencer world is covered in a different sector.
Mm.
I mean, it's a $30 billion industry. So, I mean, 30 billion in the US alone on merch and swag. There's a lot of room in the playground for people to make a living and not be enormous or the
Yeah.
biggest. And it's completely fragmented. So generally, folks know somebody, or most of the people in the industry are sub $100,000 in revenue. I'd say almost, if I had to guess, 90%.
Yeah.
So it's a second job or part-time deal, or they just don't have a scale to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not a company, it's a hobby. But yeah, I mean, for us, it's what we do. And as far as like the TikTok influencers, we've never really looked or gone after that business because we felt that it's best to stay in our lane and apply focus to the type of client that we service the best. I mean, that's, I'm not young. And one of the things I've learned is that you just can't chase every opportunity that's out there.
Yeah.
So I've become really good at identifying who our core audience is and then pursuing the opportunities inside of our core audience. And then 10% on the edges, you can get to on the edges 10%. But then when it's not what you do the best,
Yeah.
it's only going to prove to be a distraction for your company. And distractions become demotivating. Demotivating becomes quality, check, your quality goes down, your efficiency goes down, your attitude and motivation goes down. It just is a really negative impact when you try to do things that you're not either equipped to do. It's like, you ever try to screw something in with the wrong screwdriver or the
Oh,
wrong
yeah.
tool? If you build with the right tools,
Yeah.
jobs are easy to build. If
Yeah.
you build with the wrong tools, they're extremely difficult. And yeah, so that creator world is out there, and we just don't chase it. We work well with businesses anywhere between 50 and 1,000 people is our sweet spot. We do businesses that are bigger and some that are smaller. Again, it's dictated by the founder, the CEO, or the executive team. If they have
Yeah.
a merch and swag culture, a 25-person company can outspend a 1,000-person company.
Right.
But that's where we excel, and that's where we mostly spend our time and efforts.
So that's interesting because I'm guessing over here in the UK we don't have such a big culture. Where does this sort of thing come from in the States? Because I mean I know when you go to the States everybody seems to wear a branded t-shirt and everyone seems to have a baseball hat on. They're the two things you always notice about that culture.
Is
And I
that
said,
not true? Is that not true in the
no,
UK?
not so much. I mean, you might have designer clothes on, but you wouldn't necessarily have sort of all these slogany t-shirts. And so, well, I mean, maybe it's the weather over here. We don't really tend to wear sun hats all the time. And of course, we
Hmm.
don't play baseball. So I just wonder where it comes from in America that you have this swag culture.
Yeah, it's a good question. The industry's definitely boomed over the course of the last 25 years.
Yeah,
I think that I think it's probably a function of straight up capitalism in that everybody is looking for a way to seek an advantage in
right.
business.
Yeah,
So there's a lot of noise. It's hard to get an advantage.
yeah,
People like gifts and free things. And putting your logo or creative or artwork on products to give people that they'll see every day and or use, right? The holy grail is
yes,
everybody has the same, everybody who gives something away has the exact same wish. They want
yeah,
to get on somebody's desk
yeah,
or they want to get on their body.
yeah,
And to me, it's just probably an evolution of wanting to get more business. I mean, it wasn't that way in the 70s and 80s, but all of a sudden in the 90s, the industry started to boom like that. And yeah, I would imagine that it's just a straight up competitive advantage force at play,
yeah.
which is where the cultural phenomena came from.
So this is interesting, isn't it? You're almost one of those organizations that sits on you'll sit in the zeitgeist of culture, don't you? Because actually, what people want to buy to reflect their brand must have really changed. So, I mean, we used to have business cards, then we all had pens, didn't we? I've got a pen here with a brand sitting
Hmm.
on the side of it. So, what have you seen over the course of time? How has that changed in terms of what people want to have the brand stamped on these days?
I can't speak. I've been in the business now since 2012. So we're right, that's 13 years. In my time, it hasn't changed. Now the brands that they've put the logos on have changed. Things come and go,
Yeah.
right? Yeti to Stanley to Owala, for example, and the water bottle craze is
Yes.
probably the easiest example.
Mm.
And I think that trends happen faster now, right? TikTok, as you shared, is certainly illustrative of a medium that just makes things go really fast. But yeah, for me, I think it's steady as they go. It's a hat and a t-shirt are still your number ones and twos.
Yeah.
Pant. I'll put it this way: we get surveys from the trade associations that come out as to the top 10 products in each quarter, and they'll break it down by month.
Yeah.
There's not a huge level of variance in what those top 10 products are.
Really? You
Mm,
surprised me. Because I
yeah.
mean,
No, I mean, it's not surprising, right? It's tote bags, pens, journal books,
yeah.
drinkware, t-shirts, hats. Now, having said that, it the volume inside of each of those categories is overwhelming and massive. Our competitive advantage as a company is that we ideate, we see, feel, and touch. I believe that we recommend products that are superior to you being able to shop online and do it yourself. So, I still think that there's a service element in this industry that others may overlook that we don't.
Yeah.
Um, but as far as like the base product, I mean, when I say hat, I mean, I could take you to a website right now that would show you 700 examples of different 700,
Wow.
700. One
Hats.
company, 700 different styles,
Yeah.
not counting the SKUs. And I mean, the variances of them. Do you want a hook and loop backing? Do you want a snap back? Do you want a one size fits most? Do you
Yeah.
want fitted? Do you want Velcro? So,
Yeah.
there's endless options. And that's before you get into the concept of, hey, we want to have this custom made for us. And now you're starting on pad and paper
Yeah.
and doing it from scratch. So
So is the
everything's
sort of
possible.
yeah, is the journey to future-proof your business about continued personalization and wider choice? Is that the thing, or is it because you were mentioning earlier the innovation involved in printing on different sort of products and different materials, such like is that part of it? Because almost all businesses now are trying to think, we've got this advent of AI and blah 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 blah. It is how do we think differently about how we march forward, isn't it? So I just wonder where, in your industry, what you do, because you're in a completely ideas-based business, really, and then manufacturing.
Nothing. So, all right, I love AI and I've hired an AI engineer to work full time at my company to help us inside of our company with both our processes, but also our clients
Mm.
and seeking better and bigger and broader opportunities for our clients. What I'll share is I don't take, and I might be wrong, but this is our business. I don't take the online approach of order it yourself like the
Yeah.
online players. Now they're massive, right? For Imprint's the biggest in the industry. They're a UK based company. You might know
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
That's not our approach. We take a more personal one-to-one approach with client services embedded in where you want to talk to a human, we're human. Maybe that's the wrong way to go for generation next or
Yeah.
whatever's next. I don't even know
Yeah.
where we're at, ZY or whatever.
I really don't know either, to be honest.
And that we're a we might be a dinosaur in this space, but good news is my company and I get to decide what and how we want to do business,
Yeah.
and that's
Yeah.
how we want to do business in a
Yeah.
very human way. And to this date, I think we've attracted enough clients that have agreed that they want to do it that way, and I think we're going to keep going that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I think people forget that about business owners, isn't it? You always have a choice to do what you want to do, and you don't always have to be at the vagaries of the market, do you? Sometimes you can have a deep belief in, I mean, it might not work out, but fundamentally you can do what you want in your own business. I think there's too many. There are a lot of people who follow the fads almost, aren't they? And there's like this, as soon as you say the word AI, part of myself is raising my own eyebrows and rolling them a little bit, thinking we've been hearing about AI and such like for such a long time. I mean, I can see applications in sort of businesses, like agents and such like, but you don't have to. There's no requirement that you have to leap on the AI bandwagon, is there?
I mean, you tell me when the phone systems came out in the late 70s and early
Mm,
80s, and you got a phone system, was your instant reaction, oh my God, this is great. I love talking to this phone system?
mm,
Or did you want to take the phone and slam it up against the wall
mm.
and break the thing in half and say, just give me a person to talk to?
Yeah,
I mean,
well,
which was your reaction?
a bit of both probably, and it depends who was at the other end of it as well. But I mean, I remember telexes and faxes. I'll go back that far, and early internet dial-ups. I think the march technology was always there, isn't it? It's about how you use the technology, not how you are terrified of it. I think that's key, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I mean, my clients want to know that if they need to send me a text or someone in my organization a phone call at 10 o'clock at night or reschedule a meeting or they have an emergency that they need handled in a week,
Yeah,
that they're going to get an instant reaction from our team and not hope to ask a bot the right question or
yeah,
push the right prompt or spend 75 seconds on the phone where a menu's changed that hasn't changed
yeah,
to choose the right button. So I'm not anti-technology. I'm very pro-technology. And like I said, I hired an AI engineer to help us
mm,
internally, just not someone who is going to dismiss the human interaction that has gotten us to a level of success
yeah.
in deference to new technologies. And
That's really interesting. So you're not anti-technology, but you are pro-human. That's what you're sort of saying in a funny
yeah,
sort of way, isn't it? Yeah.
technology. It has to help humans. The biggest mistakes I ever made in business is when I led with technology
Tell me more.
and didn't have the processes built prior on a human level
Mm,
and didn't make the mistakes deeply at the human level
mm,
before adding technology. The technology became useless. And,
yeah,
I've been through that exercise already and made those mistakes. And I just don't envision having to make them again.
yeah,
So everything we do here is incredibly manual and until we can't break it.
yeah,
And then we put the technology to it, which makes it tried and true, and then work really hard to try to break the technology. So that's the process that we've undergone to this point. And I don't envision changing that for AI.
yeah,
And, here's a little secret: 75% of the AI that you see out there, if not more, is still hard coding anyway.
yeah, yeah. Makes sense. No, it is fascinating. I think what you're talking about there is that, there's a sort of principle, isn't there, that I suppose we used to talk about this in the 2000s when, sort of big CRM systems were coming out. We used to talk about rubbish in, rubbish out, didn't we? And I think it's the same
Yes.
with AI, isn't it? You take a big mess and you computerize it. You don't get clarity, you get a big computerized mess. And I think you've got to understand that, haven't you? You have to use the technology in an appropriate fashion rather than just for the sake of it. I like your point about the bots because I know that every time you go on a website and there's a chatbot, you just know it's there for one reason only, and it's just to save money, isn't it? There is no other reason to have a chatbot because on the whole, they're pretty hopeless, aren't they?
For if you have a frequently asked questions section on your website and a chatbot helps you ask a question and allow you not to read through the FAQs and get you to your answer with one stroke,
Yeah,
then it's extremely helpful.
yeah,
My experience is, I mean, I just had it today. I have some domains that were coming up for renewal and I went to the site and it didn't show my domains where it was supposed to show them. And the chatbot, I asked, where do I see them? And it gave me instructions to look for them and I still didn't
yeah,
find them.
yeah,
So I ended up needing, and still haven't gotten to, but need a human.
yeah,
So I just think the best technology is going to be applied when you make it, you know, when you're dealing with a company, it's either easy to get to a human being or it's hard to get to a human being. Just
Mm.
like, when you read their About Us, like in their About Us, does a company tell you where they're from? Do they tell you who they're founded by? Do they tell you something about themselves, or do they
Yeah.
talk in generalities?
Mm.
Like, that's how you determine whether or not they're a hands-on company who wants to deal or expects to deal with people or not.
Yeah.
And I just don't think you can leave listen, at a certain level, financially, I guess companies don't care. They can leave their lower level clients to deal with the chatbots
Yeah.
and then service in their higher level clients with account managers.
Yeah.
We've just not taken that approach. We've given everybody service. And it might have to do with level of company, because that's definitely understandable, but it's also potentially short-sighted, because small clients become big clients,
Yeah.
and the way they become big clients is through hand-holding and service.
Yeah. Interesting. Do you manufacture in the US?
We manufacture in Foxborough, Massachusetts, right in our office. We do 90% of our own manufacturing as a company.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's
Ah,
a big part
interesting.
of our business, and it's something that I learned very early on, that we needed to keep control of our production if we were going to control timing and quality.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a
You-
last minute business. I mean, that every third order is, I need it in less than a week or two.
Yeah.
And it's brutal and doesn't allow for the best end result for the client from a product shopping and matching perspective. You're going to X, Y, or Z conference, who's the audience, those things, their conversations take time. The
Yeah.
gift I would give a conference where that you would attend, Russell, are different than a gift that I would give at a conference that a 25-year-old
Yeah.
might attend. Understanding audiences is very relevant to what you give away. What
Yeah.
your product and service and offering is relevant, and what outcome you want,
Yeah.
it is extremely relevant. The worst thing you can do is show up at a conference, look to the table or booths next to you, and see them have something that's almost exactly like what you have.
Yeah. It's standing out, isn't it? I'm very intrigued at the idea of what freebie gift you'd be giving me at a conference now. I've got my eye on a new car, but there you go. So one of the things you said right at the top of this was that it was about the ROI that organizations get from swag and merch. And I'm a big fan of ROI and payback and such like. So is this something that people actually have in mind? How do you prove ROI from these sorts of things? Is it a conversion thing? Tell me more about
Yeah. So look, I mean, it comes down to a company's desire to track
that.
I mean, if you're going to give something away at an event, you're going to be able to track how many leads the same ROI
Yeah.
it's the same ROI conversation that you would have if you didn't give anything away. But the
Mm.
concept is, because of your giveaway. So working trade shows or events where you're driving traffic and using gifting to drive traffic, whether it's signups, like for example, at the Super Bowl this year, there was a table set up outside of the main drag by Home Depot, and they
Right.
were giving away little pails, little buckets to
All
people.
right. Yeah.
In order to get one, you needed to scan or take your email.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a very simple math. It's just math at that point, right? How many leads
Yeah.
did you get, and how much did it cost you to give that away, and what did the space cost?
Yeah.
And then, who signs up for your loyalty program, and then you track their purchases from there. So those systems have become extremely sophisticated. Therefore, giveaways are definitely able to be
Yeah.
tracked from a retention and an acquisition perspective.
And I'm guessing the fact that those tracking systems are also sophisticated is actually good news for you because that is the way, because otherwise this is just seen as a sort of gifting type thing, but actually it has a hard, tangible use, isn't it? So,
Yeah,
so actually, if I'm a marketing director, I'm sitting thinking, actually, this is a legitimate strand in terms of referral recommendations, lead generation, isn't it?
My 19-year-old is in a very good marketing and operations program in college. She's
Mm.
going into her sophomore year. And I tell her all the time, data, data,
Mm.
data, data.
Do you not mention data?
I mentioned data. You just have it's that's the way the world's moved.
Yeah,
And you just have to be able to organize, analyze, and in some ways predict
yeah,
the numbers. You just have to have the information. You can't make decisions without it. It's just incredibly
yeah.
valuable. And I can't imagine a marketing director not. There used to be an old saying, right? 50% of my advertising works. I just don't know which 50%.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably not
Yeah,
many marketing directors are making that comment any longer.
yeah. And it is interesting, I was speaking at a conference a couple of weeks ago, and all you have are sort of ubiquitous QR codes to look at this, look at that, track this, track that. But you're right, a thoughtful gift, something that's meaningful to people, whatever that might be, something that stands out, not just, I mean, even if it is just a pen, but something different around a pen. That's that thing about how you build engagement and brand loyalty, and whether it's for staff members or for customers doesn't really matter, doesn't it? It's funny, isn't it? Because I remember years ago as a marketing person, we used to use this product, we used to use this strategy all the time. Now, it's funny, isn't it? It's sort of fallen out of my head, really. So it's actually quite nice to re-engage with the thing that, in a sense, is most enjoyable to buy, very, very enjoyable to consume, and actually is trackable because apparently there's data attached to it.
Yeah, I believe that. I believe that's true. And the best ideas are not the most expensive ideas. The best ideas come from like we just. I'll give you an example. Like we just did a program where we sent with every order that we sent out. We sent a little rubber ducky,
Yeah, great. Yeah,
and obviously less than $1
yeah,
per piece. And we had a postcard that said, "We give a duck,"
nice.
and then messaging around that, which asked for honest and clear feedback as to the products, the quality, the timing, the
Mm,
cost,
mm.
and their review of our company. And, again, that's data and creativity, right? I would think that if you got a duck with a postcard that says "We give a duck," you
Yeah,
chuckle or you laugh.
yeah,
So it, but you can't do that if you are rushing to do something inside of 2 weeks.
yeah,
So you have to give yourself time.
yeah.
And with time, everything's possible.
But then also, what you do with time is you reach out to people with expertise, don't you? And that's the thing, because you've got 73,000 solutions, whereas someone thinking about this on their own, is
I think
working
one of
on
the
their own.
and one of the challenges in merch is a lot of times companies, they're not hiring a merchandising expert or a swag or gifting specialist. They're throwing it on somebody as an added
Yes,
responsibility, and necessarily in tune with that person's not necessarily in tune with a concept of how do we make this pay
yeah,
off. They just need to quote get something to give
source
away.
something. Yeah. Yeah, interesting, isn't it? But it's a very multi-layered. So, sort of final question before we get de contact details and things. What's the number one thing you think is most important to bear in mind when you're thinking about your business resilience? I suspect I know what your answer is going to be, but I just want to hear it.
Well, I should make you write it down just to see if you're right. But I, I'm someone who's
I'm doing it.
okay. I've had success, I've had failure, and there's plenty of days that in my career and lifetime I've not wanted to get up and go to work, and I have, and it's so super cliche, but the biggest thing I can suggest and the biggest reason for my resilience is I've taken action against my own desires. And when I
Mm.
say my own desires is I want to stay in bed. I get up
Yeah.
and get in the shower. I want to go play golf. I stay and I make the extra phone calls.
Yeah.
So you just got to tell your mind is powerful, and your mind tells you that your mind just lies to you all the time and tells you you can't and tells you you won't and you're not good enough and you're not capable or that this what's going to happen. The biggest lie your mind says is what's going to happen when you don't
Yeah.
know what's going to happen ever. You don't know. Nobody knows the future. If you knew the future, you'd be
To be rich.
you'd be all of it. It's you
Yeah.
just don't know. You think you do. So I just take action against my own mind when it tells me something. I don't listen, and I just power forward and do what I consider to be the next right thing.
Yeah.
And that's landed me in a it's landed me in a decent and good spot with with good people that I love working with. I love my company. I love the
Yeah.
people who work with me and for me. My clients are great. I've got great wife, kids. I'm in a really fortunate position, and I haven't always been, but I've kept going and taken action. And there's just nothing in the world that beats action as a business person or entrepreneur. Or you just have to keep doing. And it's super hard, but
So,
that's what you have to do.
so this drive that you've got to fight against your own mind in a way, how have you developed that?
How do you develop the
How do
muscle
you
to
develop? Yeah.
how do you develop the muscle to take action against
Yeah. Against your
your
better self.
mind,
Yeah.
against your better
Yeah.
self? It's
Just do it.
you do it and then you see the results, right? So like again, the cycle is very simple, Russell. The cycle is your mind tells you something, you either choose to believe it or disbelieve it. Even if you believe it, you take action against what you believe. If you
Mm.
disbelieve it, you take action anyway. You then take the action and then you look back at the result.
Mm.
Is the result what you expected it to be? Is the result different? One of the activities I do on a moment to moment basis, not mind you, I didn't say day to day basis, I said moment to moment basis,
Yes. Yeah.
is I look for opportunities where I'm wrong.
Yeah.
And by looking for opportunities where I'm wrong, I actively suppress my ego because my ego wants to be right. So
Yeah.
by actively suppressing my ego, it allows me to, when I tell myself something, draw back on my experience of how much I really don't know instead of propagating myself and saying how much I really do know.
Yes.
So, ego suppression is a huge part of my story. And I think that to the degree that I've done that and been either selfless or self introspective, my career has taken off since 10 years really of
Mm.
doing that. And it's by in those moments, right? And small things. You're driving and you the person in front of you has their turn signal on for too long and you in your head get pissed off and you think that they're not a name that you don't want to call them and you race around them and they might be very old.
Mm.
It doesn't mean
But
they're bad. It
yeah.
just maybe means they're old.
Yeah.
You could argue whether they should be driving or not, but that in your mind they were bad. They weren't bad. Something else was happening. That's just a silly example, but there's so many over the course of the day. I mean, our
Mm.
mind is a judgment machine,
Yeah.
right? Constantly having opinions, constantly making judgments. Just identify which of those judgments is wrong.
Yeah.
And you'll find, like, even if you're 50-50, like, that's not good enough to be egoful about.
Yeah. It's interesting you talk about this in this way because, what you're talking about in terms of, managing yourself against your own natural edges. It's like the opposite of addiction, isn't it? Because addicts are the people who give in to their addictions or actually enjoy their addictions to the point where they do them more than more. There's different sorts of addictions, but it is interesting that sort of mental strength you've built is quite useful. I just wonder if that's something you've learned over the course of your life.
That's been the theme of my life for sure. Yes.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Fantastic. I just didn't realize that you'd been involved with Jim Furyk, who's a very special golfer, isn't he?
He is. Yeah. I created my first business ever with Jim back in 1997. So a little bit ago. Remain close, good man, great family. And yeah, hopefully he's got some successes on the Champions Tour coming up after he comes back from a challenging 25. But age waits for nobody, Russell.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the one thing you can't fight against, really, isn't it? The one indulgence we all have.
For sure.
So Jay, fascinating conversation. So tell people how I mean, I know you're looking for corporates, but tell people how they can find you, how would they do that?
Yeah, easy. J at Ink Stores, INKDSTORES.com. I'm on LinkedIn, Jay Sapovits. I post every day, 7 days a week. I do it, no AI. I actually write every single post. I'm a real person there and share my thoughts and the way I think about the world, not only in swag, but the world. And yeah, inkstores.com, easy to find. I've always wondered, like folks who have their LinkedIn, they're on LinkedIn and they don't put like my phone number and email are findable.
Hmm.
Like I always wondered, like in your, especially people who are in sales, why make it hard to find yourself? Like, what are you worried that you're going to get? I already get 10 spam calls a day. What am I going to go 11? Who
Yeah.
cares?
Yeah.
Crazy stuff.
Yeah. Good. I like it. Jay, it's been a show to talk. Thanks you so much for spending time with us today. It's been really useful. Thank you very much.
Russ, appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
All the best.